Ooh, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So the name of this beer is Old Chub.
And it's a Scotch ale, which we thought was appropriate.
Which to me makes me think that the beer we're about to consume is an aging boner. An aging
chub.
Scottish boner. And since we don't have a bit, I'm just going to say aging Scottish boner again. And then I'm going to say whatever comes out of my mouth next, which in this case is going to be that I can't believe that when I was not remembering Kebby Levy and was instead making up a bunch of names from Kebby Levy that I didn't think to call it a Kieran Culkin. I can't believe I didn't think of that. I was sitting on the toilet this morning, and this is what happens when I'm sitting on the toilet, apparently.
Best
and I
ideas.
Thought, I can't believe I didn't think to call it a Kieran Culkin. And in fact, I'm not entirely convinced that that isn't actually a word in Gaelic.
What do you think a Kieran Culkin means?
I mean, I think it means a Kebby Levy, but maybe it means an aging Scottish boner for all I know.
Or maybe it means under the radar better than your brother.
Oh,
like you're the kind of maybe older sibling that nobody really paid attention to, but really when you get down to it, you're a much better person and like generally speaking better at everything.
Yeah, well, better actor for sure. It could also mean the moment when you realize that you all poured yourself beers and didn't save one for the opening sound. That might be a literal translation.
Well, we'd
of Kieran
already
Culkin.
opened the growler we were working on, so I just emptied it out. But we did have a beer to open.
We did.
The Old Chub.
It might also mean like a youthful Scottish boner,
or maybe it means Kieran Culkin means missed it by 2 years.
Yeah, it might mean that. It could mean the unsatisfying feeling of fucking in the basement of a ship for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That was a real Kieran Culkin.
Missed it by 2 years.
I think it probably just means Kebby Levy.
Yeah. So
Don't
we're just going to call Kebby Levy's Kieran Culkin's. Are we just going to start saying Kieran Culkin instead of Stramash?
It was a Stramash. It was a real Kieran Culkin. I think that's got to be it.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. Have any of our bits ever crashed and burned like this one is?
Oh, I'm sure that a couple of the times when we were really hungover, it was like this.
You know what I feel like right now? I feel like I was really primed for a really solid bit, and instead all I got was 30 seconds of unsatisfying fucking in the basement of a ship.
While water dripped on your forehead.
Well, I didn't mind that part.
It would be distracting. Can
Well,
everyone
but then
hear my
I'd
cat?
be worried that they would be disease rats.
Oh,
like disease rat water.
That's right.
Rat water.
Oh, God.
It's like what the Good Place said about clam chowder. That was clam chowder. That was a clam chowder deck.
You need to watch The Good
Hi,
Place.
Sophie.
Hi,
You do
Sophie.
need to. How have we not convinced you of this yet?
I've seen the first season. I just haven't gotten it and gotten the second season to
Bucket.
watch. I know.
Hot ocean water. Hot ocean milk
Is clam chowder?
with
Yes.
with dead bug croutons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of weak stuff, like every
And
time
you
I
know
hear that,
what?
it makes me want to throw. In fact, because of that, I turned down free clam chowder this week because I looked at it and all I could think of was warm ocean milk.
Yeah, you know what I wish you would have done? I wish you would have looked at it and then flipped the table so the clam chowder went everywhere, and then I could have said, "Wow, Julie, that was a real Kieran Culkin." Welcome to Popular Podcast, Not Your Podcast. I'm Allison Shoemaker.
I'm Julie Starbird.
That's Janine.
Hi.
Reunited and it feels so good. We started oddly, and now I have no idea how the show. You know what the fucking bit was? We were in the bit Doldrums. I am like,
Yes!
this is nothing but whiffs from me. I am batting zero. I'm missing
true.
every
Kieran
pitch.
Culkin is
it's
quality.
It's like the person I'm playing with is playing like kids t-ball, and I'm still just totally. Is that why they call it wiffle ball? Because you whiff?
No, that's the name of the ball.
Okay. Well, in this case,
Although-
it's because I'm totally whiffing.
The instance of whiffing is very high in wiffle ball because usually it's like 3-year-olds playing it and they have very limited motor skills.
Well, in this case, my comedic motor skills are feeling very limited. Luckily, I've got just a fistful of Old Chub right now. And it's 8%.
8%.
Oh, God.
We are talking about episode 9.
The
right?
Doldrums, yes.
The old Doldrums. And before we get started, I wanted to say Sophie's real chatty today, so that should be fun.
Because we were in there and I was trying to get her to cuddle while we were watching the show, and she's like, fuck off, I'm sleeping. And now she's like, I am awake and everyone should know.
Well, I did keep asking her questions.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't answer any of them. See, another whiff, another missed opportunity. This really is the Doldrums.
It's a weird day.
The weather's kind of strange. Yeah. I've been watching The Punisher since 9 a.m.
Oh my God.
The Punisher?
Yeah, I actually legally can't say when it comes out, even though I think it's common knowledge. I had to sign a form saying
Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Okay.
Review to come. Whatever. John Bernthal's kind of hot.
He seems like an interesting fellow.
Yeah, he's like dirty hot.
He had a really interesting interview about the Kevin Spacey thing. And
really?
And it wasn't like a big aside, but it was like him saying, "Yeah, I didn't like that guy, and now I know why I didn't like him. He treated everybody like shit on set, and like if it had been women, I think I would have reacted different."
Oh, right, because he's in Baby Driver.
Yeah. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And so, and he was like, but he treated all the men really weird, and I didn't know why I didn't like him. Now I know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, he's dirty hot. And
dirty hot like fancy dirty hot? Or
no.
Dirty hot like Chris Cooper in Adaptation?
Sort of, but but more conventionally hot at the same time.
So dirty, pretty hot.
It's kind of your sweet spot. It's the drag you into a cave hot.
Oh, okay. I do like that.
Yeah, I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I just want to say welcome to Podlater Drugcast now because that's a better button. My instincts are all out. How's everybody else's day been today?
I didn't sleep last night.
Why?
I just didn't sleep last night.
I'm sorry, bro.
That sucks.
I mean, sis.
It's cool. It was
I don't want to misgender you, Janine.
Whatever you need to give.
Fluid.
At this moment.
Gender fluid.
Yeah,
cool.
That's how I have a stuffed animal Foxy that hides in my apartment. They're gender fluid, you know.
Foxy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Foxy.
Foxy. Julie, how's your day?
Mellow.
Yeah.
Neil has been ill this weekend, so I've been trying to help him out a little bit. But I've also been sleeping in what we refer to as the summer home, which is our front room on the folded out futon. So because he's sick, he gets the big bed, and I've been sleeping on the futon. So kind of a little fuzzy, but I'll be cool.
Cool. That's cool.
Maybe daylight saving time has done this to us because now it's so dark all the time.
You know, for two things on that. First of all, I learned last week, thanks to a Twitter asshole. You don't often learn things from Twitter assholes, but this one I learned from. I learned that technically it is daylight saving time. There is no S. It's daylight saving time is the actual official term. I had no idea. You want to know why? Because daylight saving time sounds stupid. Daylight savings time sounds correct.
Did he give you a well actually before saying it?
No, but what he did do is he said, well, senior writer, because that's in my bio.
Oh my
You'd think a senior writer would know it's daylight saving time. And then I did what I always do when someone appears out of nowhere that doesn't follow me to tell me I did something wrong. And I went and I checked what else they've been tweeting about. And it was just him searching for people who were saying daylight savings time on Google and on Twitter and correcting them.
Best.
Oh, so that was how he spent his morning.
Fucking life.
And you know what? It was early. It was like really early. So what he chose to do with the first day of daylight savings time was spend it on the internet telling people they're wrong. And you know what? Maybe that's his happy place. Anyway, so that's one of the daylight savings time.
That's funny.
The other is every time I hear the term now, I can't help but think about that moment in Hocus Pocus when that little shit goes daylight savings time. And all the witches think that they're going to die. No, nobody. Bueller.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean, I remember a little bit because I've seen the redacted a couple of times, but like I never saw the movie, so
well, it's worth it just for Bet. Anyway, Patty, we are going to talk about Doldrums, which I thought was
good,
okay, but like a bit of a doldrum.
It was kind of boring, but I guess they're trapped on a ship. There's not much they can do about that.
In that
and it's
respect,
supposed to be kind of boring.
It was successful in that way for sure.
I get it.
There were some good moments. I liked little redheaded Scottish Kevin Lambert.
What's his name? Innes?
The thing, first it sounded like he said Innes, and then it sounded like he said Hayes. And the thing is that those are both last names of Ardsmuir prisoners in the books, both of whom have like future things happen to
So
them.
they're the two guys. We just don't know maybe which one is which.
Yeah. Well, and so here's a Je suis book spoilers. So that would be a Je suis book spoilers. Duncan Innes in the book loses an arm in Ardsmuir because he gets sick. I'm assuming he gets blood poisoning or something, and he has to lose an arm. So for a second, whichever one, whether it's Hayes or Innes, when he was on the thing.
Mast.
Do you know ship terms?
I know a few.
Okay, so not the mast, but the thing that goes out from the mast.
Oh, nope.
The pointy
boom.
outer.
The boom.
The boom?
I'll call it the boom.
Maybe boom. Maybe boom.
We'll call it boom.
I don't think it's that, but I'm going to go with it.
Okay, well, we're going to call it the boom. The B.
So you thought he was going to lose his arm right there.
I thought the solution, and this is like pure madness. This is I have not been sleeping well, and my brain is in a weird space because I really for a second thought the way that they were going to solve this problem, the way they were going to find a Jonah, is that Jamie was going to say, well, we can't throw him overboard because the only offender is his hand. He didn't touch the thing with his hand. And then they're going to cut his arm off and throw it overboard. I really somehow thought that was what was going to happen. So someone fire me from every TV criticism job I have because that's a terrible idea.
Don't do that. What I thought when you said that was that maybe he was going to fall off the beam in some way that took his arm.
Like his arm was just going to get ripped off.
Like from, well, you know,
like Jamie
ropes.
was so strong that when he caught him by the arm, his body disconnected from his arm.
Would I have been surprised by that?
God.
No, not one bit would I have been surprised by that.
Oh, my entire side hurts just thinking about that. Oh, God.
We also, Julie and I both spent a lot of this episode thinking about, I think for Julie, the biggest point of reference was Hook. And for me, it was the Mary Martin Peter Pan. Mm-hmm. So every time Jamie was walking around, I kept going, I gotta crawl. No, you weren't a
guys,
Peter Pan.
no. Oh, right. It is a boom.
It is a boom.
That might be like smaller sailing, but still, I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
So let's
go back to the beginning.
Let's get into the doldrums.
The doldrums. There are those who would say we are already there. So strong sexual
Welcome
content.
to 2017.
Strong sexual content was promised on the title card, and you know that really gets me excited. And so I wrote
Julie
it down.
has the strangest turn-ons.
I wrote it down and really wanted the show to, deliver. We'll see.
When they double down on
it
that.
seemed like it delivered for Claire.
And then when does it not deliver for Claire?
Presumably with Frank.
But did they? I don't think they did.
Well, actually, you know what? Pre-Scotland, well-known, pre-Dick Rock, she seemed very satisfied. You remember? She got a fucking tongue bath in the vagina in a deserted castle.
That's true.
That's one of my favorite scenes that I've never seen.
Yeah, it's hot. You'll have to give me a bath. All right.
I fucking love that.
With my tongue. That's right up there with, are you hungry? Oh, yes, but not to eat. Yum, 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 yum. Vagina, 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 vagina. Vagina, vagina.
So the theme music happens, and you guys, it's different. I responded to it differently. I wanted to dance more. What's going on here? Oh, it's the drums. The drums are totally like Caribbean drums. And then the actual series of events in the credits is different.
Yeah, basically all of them. From the point where the drums came in, it was all new footage, no more credits, dear. It used to be like, well, at least with season 2, when we got new imagery, it was France stuff mixed with Scotland stuff. And then at the beginning of the season, it was new Scotland stuff mixed with old Scotland stuff. And now it was just like straight up new stuff. Credit steer was gone for real this time.
Yeah. All right.
R.I.P. credit steer.
For real.
So was the horseback
shot.
That's the
gone.
big one because that one's been consistent. That and credit steer have been consistent the whole time. And those were both gone. There were some good ones. There were things about them I can't say because I assume correspond to moments in the books.
The only one that I really remember right now, just like thinking about it, was I think it was a close-up of Claire's feet on a beach and blood everywhere.
Oh, geez.
I think you're smushing 2 because the blood everywhere one that was somebody's feet was obviously like maybe having blood washed off them.
Yes. No, it was rinsing off.
But that was on a floor. But then there was also Claire, or presumably Claire, somebody crawling onto a beach from out of the water.
Yes. I remember. Now that you say that, I remember that too.
Yeah.
All right. So then we're in the action and we're down on the docks and there's a big red boat with the name Artemis on it. And it's where Jamie and Claire are going to go get on a boat to go get fucking Wien from the pirates. And Jamie is being talked to by the quartermaster. What do we call this guy?
Oh, that was Jared.
That's his cousin,
That's
right?
Jared.
From France.
Winebro.
Winebro came back with this boat and it's like, okay, here you go. You can take this boat. I got all these guys on it. You gonna throw up some? Like he totally just straight up pokes him right in the eyeball about it.
I think, well, you know what? First of all, cousins. That's what you do, right? Second, I think like they didn't quite make clear that what Jared is doing.
It was not clear at all.
Jared is a wine merchant, a very successful wine merchant. And the way that Jamie and Claire got to live their fancy Paris life is that he was like, well, great, because I actually have to go to this place and check on these fancy casks of port or whatever. So since you're really good at math, will you like do my job for me for a bit? Great. Then you get free servants and I get to go on vacation and get the fuck out of here. Sounds good.
Bye.
I don't know if you've noticed, but Paris is filthy. Bye. So he's this incredibly successful wine merchant, has not yet had his head guillotined. And
pre-revolution.
Yeah.
I worry for cousin Jared.
Wow.
Just
That's
gives
a good
them
point.
a ship to go and get Ian, which is like a
Shit ton of money.
Percentage of his income.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit like handing over someone, like now, like handing over someone like your car. I can't even fathom actually how much money that is.
It would be like
it's also
handing over to someone for a business you run, like 5 semi-trucks and all of the shit that goes in them.
Yeah.
And
like
the people that drive them.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So, like at least it's huge.
So
And-
yeah, you're right. It was Jared, but it was really kind of weirdly unclear.
Yeah, if they put him in the previously, it would have. But it was such a short scene that I'm assuming that's why they didn't. Anyway, they also, and it's there, you can't possibly fit everything in from the books ever. But one of the reasons that they had to leave so fast, it wasn't just to chase Ian, although that is obviously part of it. But it's also there's only so much time of the year that you can actually cross the ocean because then it's winter and then you're just gonna die, right? Like you'll just die. So they had to leave before the season totally changed. It was like the very end of the season when they could leave. So they had to leave basically right away.
So it was toot sweet. Let's get on this boat and go. Which then Jen Moniz watched with us today. Jen and Allison and I discussed the fact that Claire and Jamie literally leave on a boat without telling Jenny and Ian that their son has been kidnapped by pirates.
What? Well, again, they had to leave
I'm going to
fast.
write them a letter.
Well,
like, that's how it's going to roll.
I mean, it's not like he could call.
No, I know. But it's also like...
is how it goes.
It just
here's
felt
the thing.
weird.
They screw it up a little bit because they have people go and pick up their stuff. And they could have just but then I don't know.
You could have had Fergus say, here's the deal.
Jamie is maybe making some questionable decisions.
It's not the first time.
I have to take my sweatshirt off, you guys. Hold on.
Okay. It's not the first time that Jamie has made questionable decisions. So I guess that Jared named him Supercargo, which means he's in charge of the freight of the boat, which I guess is still going to be delivered. He's
also
on
the rations and shit.
Right. And everything, like the food, the water, everything. Jamie's in charge. The captain is below him. The captain's running the boat, but Jamie's the guy that's like, hey, chill out. This is my cousin's money. Yeah. I'm watching all this.
The captain is still in charge of the ship. He's just in charge of the
provisions,
stuff.
What else? Yeah. And then that's when old cousin Jared gives him the old what for about puking. And I'm like, looks like everyone knows about the weak semen.
Yeah. Well,
everybody knows.
And apparently it's not a family trait because Jared doesn't seem to share it.
No.
So it's not a family of weak semen.
No.
It's just the one.
It's just the one.
Just one bad swimmer.
And then that's all it takes. That's really all it takes.
He's a strong swimmer. He's just a weak seaman.
Yeah. And then I, for some reason, just wrote Jamaica ? I guess that's where they said they were going.
The West Indies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we see the McDo guys, the guys from Ardmere Prison that are the new Angus and Rupert. And they are innocent what?
I think they're innocent Hayes. I'm going to check the old internet machine.
And they are going to be on the boat with Jamie. The redheaded one, who I think is Innes, I think that's what they called him, is not looking forward to this. He does not like being on a boat, and he called it a bucket of shit, I think.
That's pretty accurate for the boats at that time.
Yeah, which kind of made me laugh. And kind of accurate about cruise ships now, because they are...
Those things are fucking filthy.
Literally buckets of shit.
Yeah.
Like when people get trapped on them.
Buckets of shit.
Buckets of shit. Buckets of shit. Buckets of shit. Buckets of shit.
Buckets of shit.
Buckets of shit.
Buckets of shit.
So, oh yeah, and I even wrote down here, new
this
Angus
album.
and Rupert McDo guys, names, ? This is before we even had the question about what their names were. And then we flash to the deck of the boat, and Claire and Jamie are there, and I guess they're about to cast off, and all the sailors are coming up and rubbing this horseshoe on a post. So it's obviously a superstition on this boat that everybody's got to touch a damn horseshoe. This becomes very important, Janine.
Okay, so there is no Innes. So my entire crackpot theory that they were just going to cut that dude's hand off was even more bullshit.
So who are these two?
They are Leslie and Hayes.
Hayes. So Hayes is the redhead?
Hayes is a character from the books. I
Okay.
think Hayes is the redhead. The thing is, neither of them has a photo on their IMDb page.
Oy.
The only photo of both of them is a photo that they're both in
Together, of course.
So this is it. So I assume that it's Hayes, that he's Hayes. Keith Fleming.
Does it say his name in the listing, the cast listing? Keith Fleming Hayes?
Yes.
Okay, so he is Hayes.
So I
the
think
redhead.
the redhead
Yeah.
is Hayes, the Kevin Lambert looking motherfucker.
So he's Hayes. Hayes is the one that doesn't want to be on the boat. And that also becomes very important later, Janine.
I am definitely paying attention.
So they're on the boat. Everybody's rubbing the fucking horseshoe. And then Jamie lets Claire know that the reason why everybody's saying hello to him and completely ignoring her existence is because both of them are bad luck for different reasons.
Oh.
She is bad luck because, she's a woman. And women just shouldn't be on boats or, like allowed to do anything. And then he is bad luck because he's a redhead.
What about Hayes?
Man, Hayes is like an underling,
That's
I think.
and he's like a strawberry blonde, maybe. Like he's got reddish, like stubble color, but his hair's mostly blonde, whereas Jamie is a straight up ginge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like the gingest of ginges.
The gingy ginger.
So nobody is happy to see either one of them, and to know that Jamie is kind of in charge, and also that Claire is actually the boat surgeon now. She's
Making
the
her
doctor.
the most qualified ship surgeon in the history of
All mercantile.
no-
Yeah.
Up until that
Yeah.
point, yes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boosh, Fergus appears, but he's not alone.
Oh yeah, because there's a conversation between Hayes and not Hayes where they're talking about the wee frog is already on board, and
He brought some stuff
the
for
little
you.
Kevin Lambert looking motherfucker Hayes goes, oh yeah, aye, and he brought, and then the other one elbows him in the side more obviously than anyone has ever elbowed anyone in the side ever, and he's like, your luggage. And
So
what
in
they
other words,
meant was your baggage. Nailed it. I nailed it.
So Fergus shows up with a woman. More bad luck.
Oh shit.
You know what's even more bad luck? Guess who she is, Janine?
Oh no, who?
The oldest daughter of Leary.
Oh shit.
Yes, Marsley.
Leary Jr.
Leary?
Marsley.
Marsley.
I want to say, you all know my love of Davina Porter. On the audiobooks, she's Marsali. So it's very weird for me to keep hearing Marsali.
Marsali. That's
Marsali.
that's also
Marsali.
that's better.
Masley?
Marsali.
Marsali.
So I guess
Marsali.
Fergus and Marsley are going to get hitched. And they've already actually been hand-fasted. They've been courting and they're hand-fasting. And Jamie, who is kind of Marsley's dad, right?
Oh yeah.
Is like, has no idea. He is very taken by surprise. And then, boop, the boat's on the ocean. Hijinks ensue.
Well, and they're already out there when Fergus and Marsley come up. they're already at sea, and Jamie's like, Captain, we need to turn the boat around.
That's right.
Because you don't understand. If this girl stays on this boat, my wife's gonna kill me, and also my other wife is gonna kill me, and also my not daughter's gonna kill me, and also probably everybody on board is gonna kill me because then it's 2 women. So like, dude, can we can we please turn this ship around?
Just stop this shit.
Yeah, and the captain's like, no, that's not how boats work. And then Jamie does not automatically Ralph. I want you all to know, I spent at least 20 minutes of this episode thinking we were never going to see a Jamie Ralph, and I was so pissed. And the second I was like, if there's no Ralphing, I'm just gonna throw something. Then it was, so that was great. Anyway.
So Jamie's like, okay, fine. If we're all on this boat together, here's how it's going to work.
Oh, no. Because then he's like, well, we're going to stop and pick up more supplies in handy, convenient Portsville. And Marcy's like, no, you have the nerve to tell me what I should do when you pissed off my mom and then you stuck this whore and then you...
She straight up does call Claire a whore.
You dropped many times. You dropped a bomb in my life and now you're going to try to tell me that I can't hit it with this hot Frenchman?
By the way, they haven't hit it yet.
No.
That's important as well.
He has neither hit it nor quit it.
Yeah.
So,
and he will not forget it.
He will not forget it. So Jamie's like, here we go. Fergus and I will bunk together. Claire and Marcy will bunk together. And Claire is like,
they both go, what?
And Claire like drags him aside. She's like, I haven't seen you in 20 years. And you're going to take me out of your bed. And we're all like, she's right. She's not wrong. But he does make it happen. So we only get one scene of them together in the bedroom. And that's later. Of Claire and Marcy together, bunking together. But it's very brief and it's later. So we find... I don't know if Fergus mentions that he brought stuff for them from Lollybrook or if we just see it in the room and then it's opened, right?
Well, we already heard they were bringing stuff and then Claire looks in the trunk, yeah.
But she comes into Jamie's quarters and he is not feeling it. He is ill. He is like, he's got his back up against a like mass type, like, and he's like holding his stomach. He's obviously a weak seaman, not feeling well.
You know, I mostly appreciate that Sam Heughan plays so much in the area of restraint, right? Like it's very... Jamie is mostly pretty in control. He's a master of the field, 10, show 7. Like he's really good at that. He does it really well. Is it too much for a bitch to ask for a little like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh my God.
He does actually say he'll be dead tomorrow.
I know,
but it's very controlled.
Goes, I'll be dead tomorrow. What I want is, oh my, no, just kill me. Please just kill me now. Oh, you don't understand. It's coming out of both ends.
Yeah. So he is not doing
I don't know a single dude on the planet, and maybe Neil's an exception to this. I don't know a single dude on the planet who's any good at being sick.
No, he has gotten better.
Okay.
He used to be much worse, but now he knows that I will set him up for success. I will get him everything he needs, and then I'm leaving him the fuck alone. And that's the way it goes down because I don't want to be around his plague ass hands.
See, I'm a nurturer.
No, I nurture up to a point. I get him everything he needs. I get him food. I get him Kleenex. I get him all set up in there. And then I'm like, bye, see you in 3 days.
You know, I've been sick a lot by myself, so I feel like I'm all right.
Okay.
I feel like I'm all right. Though no one's been able around to tell me that I'm not all right.
Well, Jamie is for the most part
pretty all right about it.
But what I'm saying is, would it have been so bad? Excuse me, Runmore. Would it have been so bad? Could a girl just get some? Oh, I think it's just somebody just kill me. You don't understand. Oh, it passed. Nope. Please. I want a little comedy. I want some comedy with the one thing that Jamie's bad at. Although apparently he's also bad at telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
That's true.
I just want some like puking in your mouth and swallowing it. I want some puke hijinks.
Oh.
Last week we got fucking everything is terrible. Let's fuck hijinks. If I can get those kind of hijinks, can't we get some puke hijinks? I want him puking on the floor, trying to get up to clean himself off, slipping in the puke and landing in it.
And like that's what I want because he hit the ground, and then maybe crying, and then puking because he cried.
I want him laying on the ground because he's too too miserable to move, and then puking, and then just giving up and putting his face in it. Like, what does it matter? I'm just going to be dead anyway. Okay, Jamie, do you want any food? No, I've got everything I need right here. I just want I want him just pissing himself because he can't be bothered to get up. I want the whole 9.
Is that what it's like in the book?
Well, no, of course, Jamie is not. It's not hijinks, but he is very ill. Mm-hmm. And he just basically doesn't do anything. And every time Claire tries to bring him food, he's like, I hate you. Please just fucking go back to the 60s and leave me to die in peace. Then the cook, who I actually just realized one of my favorite minor characters in the book isn't the Irish ship's cook named Aloysius Murphy. He has a peg leg because
name.
he lost a fight with a shark. The shark took a bite out of him, but then he took a bite out of the shark too. And then he talks about all the great things you can make with sharks. Anyway, he gets really pissed at Claire for trying to enter his kitchen. And then she's all like, okay, well, how about this? I need water to clean the poop deck. The poop deck isn't actually where you poop, is it?
It's called the poop deck.
The plank with a hole in it where you shit on a ship.
Oh, the toilet.
The head.
Latrine.
Oh, no.
I think it's the head.
The head.
I need hot water to clean the head. He's like, well, you can get the fuck out of my kitchen. I don't care. And she's like, okay, how about this? I have saffron and lavender and cumin and like all of this shit. And I will trade you all of these things if you will just not be such a dick. And he's like, great, welcome aboard. Right? So then they're friends. And then she goes to him and is like, listen, my husband, he's puking his guts out. I'm worried that he's just going to Ralph all over everything we've ever owned and all over me. And then I'm just going to be forced to go back to the 60s because I can't take this much more vomiting. Please, will you help me? And he takes it as a personal affront that Jamie can't eat any of his food. So he's constantly cooking things that he can get Jamie to eat. And Jamie's just like, I'm going to fucking murder someone. I'll kill you. And this is like chapters and chapters while he's also trying to handle all this other ship's intrigue. And then ultimately, Etienne Chaw comes in and has the conversation with him about his balls.
Yeah.
About his below tits. How come we don't call them below tits?
I don't know.
Okay.
Below
anyway,
tits?
we'll get to the below tits when we get to them.
Tits? No, I got nothing.
Hind tits?
Hind tits?
Well,
bottom
no,
tits?
that would be your butt though.
Base tits?
Base tits?
Like a basement?
Low tits.
Low tits.
Dangle tits?
Dangle tits.
Tit drip?
Okay, so Claire is bringing him...
Tit sack.
Tit sack.
Claire is bringing him ginger tea to try and calm his stomach. It is not working. And then all of a sudden somebody runs in and is like, hey, surgeon, woman, whatever, we need you. And she runs out, and one of the sailors who we saw... The camera dallied on him when he touched the horseshoe earlier. And we noticed that he is of a swarthy persuasion, possibly Italian, Mediterranean, and then his name is like Benedetto. And we're like,
I think it's Manzetti.
Manzetti, the Italian. He got hit in the head by one of the booms or whatever. Boom! And he's okay. And she's checking him for a concussion. First of all, she says the word concussion, and everyone on the boat is like, wetch!
They're like, what?
And she goes, oh, never, a head wound.
What is fucking?
Head wound. And she's like, you're going to be okay. You're going to have a scar, but you're cool and you're not really hurt. And he goes, this is because somebody didn't fucking touch the horseshoe. Oy vey. And then the captain, it's like, Claire's like, what? And she, of course, she has no time for this nonsense. And she's not even really trying to hide her kind of disdain for this superstition bullshit. And the captain is like, not pleased. He's like, okay, I would like you and your husband to come to dinner tonight in my quarters, please. And Claire's like, well, I don't think my husband will be eating, but I'd be glad to join you.
One question. Is your cabin covered in vomit?
No?
Great. No, great. I'll be there. Can we start now?
I'll be there. And then there's a great moment where the captain tries to throw some Shakespeare in Claire's face. There are more things in heaven and earth. Horatio.
And she goes, yeah, they're draped up in your philosophy. I know.
And she like whips back and he's like, oh, an educated broad. And
probably a witch, but I dig it.
And that's actually when he invites her to dinner, is after the Shakespeare dick measuring. So he has found she is a woman of quality.
Shakespeare dick measuring. I love that.
Yeah, well, it's 100% what he was doing. He was trying to fucking like intimidate her with like poetry or knowledge or something. She's like, yeah, whatever. I just cured this guy's head wound.
And then she's like, yeah, well, if it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere better we're done quickly.
She was like, Shakespeare's very wise. Like, she actually uses his name, and the captain is like, oh, one of those Emery bitches.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay.
How was Sarah Lawrence?
So then we flash to Fergus talking to Jamie about why he hasn't told Jamie about Marsley. And it basically, he's like, I was just like you. I was a coward. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, basically, Jamie is trying to tell Fergus, like, you can't possibly know that you love her because you're young and stupid and these things don't get entered into lightly. And Fergus is like, you
didn't know.
Listen, you told
Milady.
me you fell in love with Milady at first sight, because he's still doing that. Caesar, dumb boy. Damn, boy.
Damn,
Caesar,
boy.
damn, boy.
Is
giving
very
Hot
hot.
Fergus. He's giving Hot Fergus this great mix of like a Scots accent and a French accent. That's really cool. There's some really good. I don't know who the dialect coach is on the show, but there's some cool things happening because Etienne Cho.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Is great.
there was this thing when I was writing, sidetrack, but it's a short one. When I was writing episodic reviews of The Handmaid's Tale, which by the way is great, although it's a lot. So if you are not in a place where you can handle a lot, don't watch it yet. It'll be around, but it's a lot.
I raised my hand quietly because that's me.
Oh, I pretty much told Julie, hey, this maybe isn't for you right now. But it's an excellent show. And there was this weird thing when I was writing the reviews, because in the book,
In The Handmaid's Tale.
the narrator is only called Offred of Fred, and you do not know her real name. There's a list near the beginning of a bunch of names of the characters, but you don't know which one is hers. And straight up at the end of the first episode, she says her real name.
Whoa.
So from there on out, she thinks of herself by that name, and everyone else calls her Offred. And I'm not going to say it because I guess it's a spoiler. And also, but there was an internal debate for me that actually became a conversation that I had in the comment sections of these AV Club reviews on multiple occasions about whether or not I should be calling her Offred or this other name.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, and for a while I did like one / the other, and and I kind of stuck with that because she's credited in the credits on IMDb everywhere as Offred. And everybody else gets their off name and then their real name if their real name is revealed. Anyway, I feel similarly about Mr. Willoughby / Etienne Cho, because in the books he's Mr. Willoughby and you don't hear his real name very like Claire calls him Mr. Willoughby, Jamie calls him Mr. Willoughby, but because Claire is calling him Etienne Cho, I kind of feel like that's what we should do too. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
So Fergus basically is like, yes, Jamie's like, does she know about your past? Does she know what a dirty bird you are, you stupid Frenchman? And Fergus is like, do you mean that I was raised in a brothel? Yeah. She knows that. And Jamie's kind of like, oh, okay. Does she know about all the other women you've boned? And Fergus is like, no. And he's like, but think about all those women. And then he starts like laying out the fact that damn boy is a little bit of a lady killer and has been doing it a lot, and then always like loses interest. He's like, what about this lady? What about Rita? What about Sandy? What about Blah? And then Fergus is like, hey, I hear you, man. But I want you to know that ever since I've started seeing Marsley, I haven't seen anyone else, nor have I actually lain with Marsley since we started it. So it's like, he's making a serious point. I am holding out because I really like her. And Jamie's like, and he's got some things to consider.
Yeah.
Grumble.
He's got grumble, dad.
Little
judgy.
Yeah.
He's a little judgy. And Marsley is having none of it.
And wasn't it that, so Jamie's like, how could you know this? You just met her. And Fergus is like, I believe that you told me that the first time you ever saw Milady, you were instantly in love with her. So you need to stuff it, old man.
Step back.
Yeah.
Bro.
Bro. I just wrote the note, Fergus holding out on the doing it. All right. And then we go to dinner with the captain, and it's just Claire and the captain. And the only thing that I wrote down from this is that the captain, they're discussing superstitions and how it doesn't matter whether or not they're true. It just matters whether or not the semen. Believe it. And then he's like, well, one of the things you could do to help out is that a woman's bare breasts are supposed to like quiet the sea. So, I mean, you could get out there tits out and like everything would be done. And Claire's like, hilarious. No, that is not happening.
You know, I sort of wish she had just gone for it.
I sort of wish she'd been like, chew, 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 lay the fork down, stand up, whip him out, and just go out on board like this. Like the, what do they call the thing on the front of the boat that's the mermaid, like the
bow.
Masthead? No,
the masthead, yeah.
Just going out there like fucking Kate Winslet, I'm the king of the world, with her tits out.
I wanted it like she was like, really, that's going to solve our problem? Sure.
No problem.
Okay, hold on. Give me 5 minutes. And she walks out. She's like, hey, are we cool? Come on. Are we cool now?
Are we cool? We cool?
Yeah.
Everybody cool?
Yeah.
Everybody cool?
We're good.
Pick your
Not a bad
job.
one? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, everybody just take a deep breath.
And let's go back to just being cool.
We'll all turn our backs. You can all masturbate right over the side. And I'm going to go back to dinner.
Can this be over now?
Yeah. Are we done? We're good? We're good?
And then, Allison, you told me to write this down. Macbeth.
Okay. So, public service announcement. Just don't ever fucking say Macbeth in the theater. Here's why. The captain's argument really resonated with me because I'm not a superstitious person. I love Superstition by Stevie Wonder, and that is about as far as it goes. However,
that is a jam, though.
There is one thing. It is a real jam.
It's a good song.
You know, Tom still fucking thinks that Stevie Wonder's not playing.
I have nothing
Tom's
for
an
that.
interesting dude.
Tom is a lovely, lovely person who has chosen that particular conspiracy theory
has
to
chosen
believe.
that hill to die on.
I know, it's very strange.
Why?
I don't know.
Every time that comes up, I just
know.
want to choke him.
I don't know. Anyway, Patty. So, the point being, I like Superstition by Stevie Wonder. Other than that, I'm not a superstitious person, but I will never fucking say Macbeth in a theater. And there are a number of reasons. First, because I was in a production of Macbeth, and in the course of that production, I ran off the side of the stage and landed in a person's lap. That happened. I ran under a platform it was a touring production. So they had reversed the platforms on either side. So it was 2 feet lower than it was supposed to be. And I ran directly into a 2x4.
Oh,
I got hit in the knee with a sword because we use live steel. So like with a fucking sword. And I was hanging upside down from an aerial hoop and somebody stepped on my hair, ran on my hair to be specific, among many other things. Also, somebody else almost got a sword in the eye, which is worse than the leg. But I still got the worst of it with the running off the stage and landing in a dude's lap. Like right off the edge, like boom, 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 boom. Right on. And then I and then I climbed back on the stage and I ran on. There's another scene going. Anyway, point being, that is not.
It doesn't matter if it's true. It just matters whether or not people believe it.
Which is what I'm about to get to.
Mm-hmm.
There are all kinds of reasons that people think that Macbeth is a cursed play. But mostly it's because people get hurt doing it a lot because it's Shakespeare's shortest play and it's incredibly violent.
Very physical and violent.
And there's usually dark lights and smoke and shit because it's all witches and nonsense and people are nervous. And so people get hurt and that's what happens. Years later, after I did this production of Macbeth, I was in college and I was working as like an ASM or something on a farce called A Flea in Her Ear.
Oh, I know.
Which is
That's
a
a fun one.
rotating bed and slamming doors and all that
yeah.
shit. And I was on the headset just chatting about one thing and another. And somehow that superstition came up and I was talking about someone running on my hair because it's seriously, guys, it was so painful. Anyway, the stage manager and I was shooting the shit. And then this asshole, whose last name, I won't say his first name so you can't find him on the internet and bully him. His last name is Stickles.
Of course it is.
So Stickles is on the headset. And he was like, that is the most bullshit superstition. What a waste of time. People are such idiots. And the stage manager was like, listen, I agree. It's just a superstition, but don't say it. He's like, why? She was like, because it makes people nervous. Don't say it. And then the whole day, the whole beginning of the show, Macbeth.
What a dick.
Then in that show, we had 2 people get injured. One had to be replaced by an understudy.
Oh, shit.
She was running and she twisted her knee and she just went down. She limped through the rest of the scene and she went to the emergency room because she tore something.
Gets his.
Somebody else
got
injured, like still performed. An actor who had been like getting progressively more out of control kicked the side of a Regency era desk. The leg collapsed out from under it and all the tchotchkes went everywhere while a
I hope
character
Stickles had to clean that
while
shit
an
up.
actor was hiding in a trunk and didn't know what happened. He just heard all the noise and didn't know what happened. And I wanted to walk up to my friend Joel, who I didn't really know at the time. And I was like, who was playing the butler. And I was like, Joel, I'm really sorry, but we're going to need you to go on stage and sweep that shit up. And he was like, excuse me. It's like, you just have to. And he was like, that motherfucker's been saying Macbeth. I was like, I know, but you have to take this. And he was like, this is not even period. It was just like a regular. I was like, I know. Oh my God, but you have to go on and sweep the shit. People are going to get hurt. So he goes and he sweeps it up. And we finally get to intermission. I was like, this was before intermission. I was like, thank God. And the curtains are going closed. And because there was so much chaos, somebody who was supposed to page the curtain wasn't there. And there was this huge proscenium theater, this giant expensive velvet curtain is getting closed. It gets snagged on the set and ripped a giant diagonal hole in the curtain. God. So then all of a sudden I have to run on stage and be like, how big is this hole? And then I looked out and I see the entire audience just staring at me. And I was like, I tried to pin it closed and it was too big. And then the stage manager comes marching in and she was a fucking Marine reservist. She marched in and she was like, I need everybody to just be cool. Everything's going to be fine. Mr. Stickles, I need to speak with you immediately.
Stickles got it.
Stickles. Anyway, point being, it doesn't matter whether or not you think a superstition is valid. If people are nervous about something, then don't make them more nervous because that's just going to fuck shit up. As per fucking the Doldrums.
Yeah, Captain.
And you know what?
Captain Jack, whatever his name is. I don't even know his name.
Now he's Captain Jack. This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow.
So Claire finishes her lovely meal with him. No tits out, though. And then we cut directly to Jamie barfing bile. It's like green.
It was like Slimer. It was
horrible.
I'm going to take this moment to get a glass.
Yeah, why don't you do that? And then Allison said something hilarious, which I 100% agree with. He even did the thing where after you heave, you go to try and get that pukey spit off your lip.
The sound is like where you're trying to get all that because
out of your side of your tongue. Yeah, like all of that.
I'm sorry, mouth sounds, but you know what? Justified this time.
So it's all like
it's a really good fake puke. I hope it tasted like banana pudding, and he was just able to go like
yeah. And then Tianchol shows up and is like trying to help him. He's like, look, if you keep throwing up like this, you're going to fuck yourself up. You're going to have stomach acid. It's going to eat away at your stomach lining. And then we're going to have to cut your balls off. Now, I know he had a reason for having to cut balls off. Okay. But it really just straight up sounded like your stomach acid is going to get out of control. And then we have to take your nuts.
So the conversation basically seems to be Mr. Willoughby saying, Tianchol saying, well, listen, so I don't know why you're being so stubborn and you don't know what he's talking about, but Jamie's being stubborn. But here's what's going to happen if you keep ralphing. You're going to rip your stomach lining to shreds. It's going to be all bloody. You're going to ruin your you're going to boil everything that ever happened to you. Your anus is going to turn inside out and turn into a butterfly and fly away. And then your balls are basically going to tear themselves apart into little tiny knots and they're going to insert themselves up inside yourself. And the only way we're going to be able to cure it is to cut them off. And Jamie's like, great, bro. Okay, never mind. Whatever. What do you need to do?
Like a hernia? Is he kind of talking about a hernia?
Like a puke hernia?
Maybe basically? Just giving yourself a hernia.
Yeah.
The only solution is going to be to like snip off the
take your nuts.
The blow tits.
The blow tits.
So Jamie's like, okay, Tianchol.
Okay, I take your point, man. I take your point. And I want to be clear. This conversation happens in the book too, but it's after much more puking when he's still refusing to try Mr. Willoughby's solution, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. And Claire's like, I don't know what your problem is. Just listen to the man. And then Tiancho's like, girl, I got this. Dude.
I'm going to take your nuts.
If you don't stop puking, I'm going to have to cut your nuts off. And Jamie's like, great, never mind.
Which
what do you got to do?
Comes back later in a most sad way. And then all of a sudden the next morning, Jamie's eating food. And he looks good. He's like smiling.
He's got a little tan, like semen's tan. Ooh.
Yeah, gross.
So he's whiter?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey.
And
milkier. His complexion is much milkier.
Claire walks in and sees him eating and is like, I know my ginger tea is not the reason for this. What? You're eating? How? Do you feel better?
And he's like, baby, listen, it's that ginger tea. It's curing all that ails me. I love you. Let's do it. And she's like, oh, JB, we can't. We're on a ship. Oh, hey, did we skip the Shady Marcelli conversation in their cabin? We totally did.
We might have. I might not have written anything down about it.
But Marcelly's like, hey, you should take the bigger bed. You won't hit your head.
This is the only scene that happens to the two women in their bunk.
They are going to have another really great one coming up. It's one of my favorite scenes from this book, so I really hope they don't cut it. Anyway, she's like, you should have a bigger bunk. And Claire's like, you don't have to suck up to me. I mean, like, you don't have to suck up to me. And she's like, oh, now you don't want to get involved? Really? Really? You fucking blew up my life, and now you're like, no, your business is your business?
So that's like Marcelly's one thing is like, oh, really? You don't want to do this? Now that you've already done all this, you don't want to do this?
No, Marcelly's awesome.
Okay.
Marcelly will be a character for the rest of the books.
She's done that twice now.
Think about it from her perspective.
It is relatively new and raw.
Her parents are married. There's this man that she loves who she considers her father. And all of a sudden, fake Janet, shows up and is like, I didn't mean to cause a kid in Calkin, but y'all gotta come to Lallybrook because your dad is shipping it to an English witch. And then she's like, what, really? And then she opens the door and sees them all macking. And is like, what? So this is the person who blew up your parents' marriage.
She has gone through a bit.
Yeah. She doesn't have the whole history, right? So, and all she knows is her mom saying like whore, whore, whore over and over again. Only it's
which she continues to do.
It's like
again in this scene like twice.
I like that.
And Claire's finally like, oh, well, if I'm a whore, then I get the bigger bed, don't I? Hey,
taking this big bed.
She also, I want to say this about, I think her name is Lauren Lyle. Let me double check. Yes, Lauren Lyle, who, first of all, I can't get over how much. Yeah, she's
great
really
casting.
Great casting. But she has a world-class eye roll. Like the little ones are great. The big ones are great. She's a great eye roller.
She's kind of that teen. She's right in that sweet teen spot where the eye roll is happening all the time. Oh, yeah.
It's just, why are you such a bitch?
Good.
Boo, you whore.
Boo,
oh, my
you
God.
Whore.
Anyway. So we skipped that, but that was a good scene, and I'm really excited about this take on Marcelly is slightly meeker isn't the right word, but she's not quite as sassy.
More retiring?
No, she's still like
passive. More passive?
No, she's still gutsy. Okay. She's just not sassy.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of shade. She's just like getting what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no like snap to it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There are no sick burns from Marcelli. There's just like, nope. Or like, listen, you're a whore. As opposed to like, well, now you want to, boo you whore.
So would it be something like this in the book? Is she a little bit more Anne Veal?
No.
Oh, it was right there.
I know, but but it's not.
Her?
I know, but it's not.
But Anne Veal gets everything she wants without being sassy.
Maybe she's a maybe.
Oh! All right, good job.
That was a nice
marry me.
Gosh. These pretzels are making me thirsty. It's a different sitcom. Sorry.
All right. So Jamie's eating and feeling better. Claire's like, what? Why do you feel so much better? And then he kind of slides out from under it. He doesn't say anything about it.
I'm great now. That's great.
I'm great. I just feel better. I just feel better.
Life is a song. My heart is singing.
I mean, just leave me alone, bitch. What do I need to tell you?
That definitely doesn't
happen. Of course he doesn't say
everything's
that.
Great. Life's great. Life's beautiful. Wonderful. Let's just pretend none of this bad shit ever happened. We're at sea and I don't care. Do you see me puking? Nope. Sorry. Our room smells like puke.
And as we have noticed, a life on the sea really agrees with Claire. She really likes it out there.
I mean, Katrina always looks good. She just always looks good.
She looks real good on a boat.
Even when she looks like real nutsy, like even when she was harassing harmless motorists, she still looks real good. However, she's got like another sea tan.
She's got this salty sea air.
And her hair looks amazing. And Terry Dressbach was talking a little bit today about about the costume, about the bat suit, and how the whole idea was just gradually like you look at two pictures and you look at the picture of her showing up at the print shop and she's very prim and buttoned up and whatever. And then you look at her in the sea and that is a woman who has been good and fucked and recently, right? Like all of a sudden she's like, yeah, I'm in my body again. I'm rocking this blouse. My skirt's a little bit hiked. I got this belt on. Everything's great.
She looks a little
Limber.
piratey.
She looks
piratey.
It's great. She looks super
and she's
hot.
100% into being on the boat, which is hilarious because we know that Jamie hates being on the boat. So that's interesting.
I would hazard a guess that the next time there's like a convention season, if we're seeing people cosplay from Outlander, I mean, Jamie's going to look like Jamie. And also who would be like, I'm going to invite this comparison.
Are we going to get Dread Pirate Beecham?
I think so. Because the wedding dress is so beautiful and she looks so amazing. But this is like throw on a blouse, blue skirt, belt, look like you just got laid.
Yeah.
Like really laid. Get a little, some JBF hair.
Salty sea spray.
Yeah.
Because that does complexion. That does do that.
Right. And then, yep, I'm ready.
And she goes, so she's strolling the poop deck. That's not really what it's called, but like the deck of the boat. And Etienne Chon is out there with a calligraphy brush, painting characters on the deck in water so that they disappear. So it's beautiful and he's very into it. And it's kind of like he's got his whole body into it. And she asks him what he's doing. And he says he's writing a poem. And she obviously thinks that's cool because it is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then she asks him about it. And he says that he is a writer, or he has written things and he's writing his life story. And he can't wait until the time when he is allowed to tell it. And she's like, well, why don't you tell me? And he's like, I can't tell you because you can't tell it until you have no use for it. It's over? Or what is it that he says about it?
I don't remember exactly, but it sure did make me think that he was going to throw himself off the side of the boat.
Yes, that's 100% what I thought.
Because there's another thing in that.
When he said that he was writing everything that had happened to him down, the reason why he was writing everything down is because a story told, and this is a quote, a story told is a life lived. So he was making sure to write all of his experiences so that at some point somebody could tell his story, because obviously he is away, apart from his people, apart from everything he ever knew. Like, did he just disappear to all the people that knew him? So that's really cool. And then we get Dr. Boat montage. So we go underneath and Claire's like sewing everybody shut and shit, like all these stupid sailors that keep getting hurt. And so it's kind of like baby hijinks music in the background, but it's like montagey.
Like getting shit done, getting shit done, getting shit done, getting shit done. And that's the thing. And then I'm gonna heal some people and I'm not gonna have any sex now.
Here's a mortar, pestle, and some herbs.
And can you boil some water for me? Because I can't drink water.
And then I wrote Claire likes sailing. We already talked about that. Then Claire is
Seaman agree with her.
Seaman does agree with her. She was up on the deck and feeling the sea air. And she's like, you know what? I would really like to share this feeling with Jamie. It's such a shame he can't come above deck because he's puking on everything. And she goes down to the quarters and opens up the door. And there's Jamie with Etienne Chon right over him. And Claire's like, what? And Etienne Chon stands back and Jamie has needles stuck into his face.
The way they film this is so
It was very funny.
Like, this is director David Moore. It's a really great choice because it is filmed as though she's walking in on him with another woman, only it's another healer, right?
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
Because Jamie is cheating on her with a different doctor.
With an acupuncturist.
That's awesome.
So Etienne Chon is putting needles in his face, and it's like everything I dreamed it would be. That, Julie, you actually asked me, I don't know if you remember this, you asked me about acupuncture, like in season 1, or in our season 1, we were talking about season 2. We were talking about how he can be on boats and like all of that shit.
Right. Did I say that?
You asked me about acupuncture. You were like, well, I mean, is there anything, like, what on earth would they have back then that would help with seasickness? Like pressure bands, like whatever, maybe fucking acupuncture. And I was like,
oh my God. You guys are so smart.
I read something, I don't remember if this is in one of the Outlandish companions or if this is just an interview I read, but I'm sorry, were you just getting vomit out of your mouth?
Yes.
I'm going to need you to grab your below tits and hang on because this is a good story.
Okay.
So she was trying to figure out, she knew she needed to get them across the ocean, but the thing is Jamie would just straight up die. So she needed to come up with a medically sound way that they could cure Jamie of extreme seasickness so she could get him across the ocean. She was like, well, acupuncture. It could be acupuncture. And that is where part of where the character of Etienne Chong even came from.
Really?
Was so that there would be somebody who could bring Eastern medicine to the story.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then obviously he evolved into other things. And
well, in this episode, he's
fucking
my TGP.
awesome.
He's my TGP.
Yeah, mine too. Anyway, so I guess spoilers. The
Spoilers.
Je suis end of show spoilers.
Whatevs. Everybody knows it.
He's really good. Anyway.
So he's sticking needles in Jamie's face. Claire's like, what? And Etienne Chong kind of disappears. And then Jamie's like kind of ashamed about it. And he's like, and she's like, why did you lie to me? Why didn't you tell me you were doing this?
Because I've been making ginger tea for you. Like when we start, more pestle, I am making ginger
all
tea
this shit
that
for
my
you.
husband is drinking only because he wants to humor me.
Speaking of,
Thank you.
speaking of drinking something and wanting to humor you, Neil did drink the foul brew, but he asked for it.
Ooh.
This is the first time that's ever happened.
Do you want to tell the people about foul brew, Craig?
So foul brew, you guys, if you ever have a sore throat or you feel kind of shitty, it's cool. This is important. Boil a kettle. I like to put a tea bag of chamomile in there because the chamomile kind of calms you down and soothes you. Big coffee cup. Like we're talking probably 12 ounces. Chamomile tea. Tablespoon of honey. Tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. It's best if it has the mother in it. If not, whatevs. And then like 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper.
Oh,
It doesn't taste like when you first taste it, you rebel against it a little bit, but then the honey is sweet enough to like it calms you down. It fucking coats your throat. The pepper like fucks with your nut. It just is very soothing and can like help you stop coughing.
it sounds like a soothing snot bomb.
Exactly because it helps your mucous membranes loosen up a little bit because of the chili.
Yeah.
Anyway, foul brew, you guys, you're all very much welcome.
Julie has made some for me. It's legit.
It's kind of gross, but it works. So
It's not that gross.
So Claire's like, I've been making my fucking foul brew.
Why didn't you just tell me?
Why didn't you just tell me? And he's like, I'm embarrassed because I thought you would think that this was ridiculous. And she goes, no.
No, what he says is, we are not exactly on the sturdiest footing, and I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Right. And she's actually the one that says the word acupuncture because doesn't Etienne Chong say something to her? And she's like, acupuncture. And he's like, I don't know that word, but yes. But yeah, Jamie's like, I didn't want to hurt your feelings because we have been kind of weird.
We're rocky. And she's like, why wouldn't I want you to...
I want you to feel better.
Oh, wait, listen, bro. Yeah, I'm really pissed at you about some things, but none of that means that I don't love you. And then Jamie goes, oh, and then we go, oh.
And he saw his needle sticking out of his
Julie
face.
But he still has needles sticking out of his face, and they're having this cozy conversation about the state of their marriage, and all of a sudden,
Something happens above decks.
that you hear this like,
Oh, God, I hate that
and
noise.
it's very quiet.
I hate it. Why did we stop moving? And then they go up above decks, and it's like
And
there's
Jamie
no wind.
still has the needles in
And he
his face.
still has the needles
So he
in his
goes up,
face.
and everybody goes,
And he goes, why aren't we moving? And then like Captain looks at him, he's like, what's that shit in your face? But he doesn't say shit in your face, but he's actually, what's wrong with your face?
Well, as it turns out, they've hit
The Doldrums.
Bum, bum, bum.
And I have to admit, if I were going to make a list of things that are surefire designed to make me fucking insane, you're on a boat and in the middle of the fucking ocean and the boat's not moving would be really high in it. Can you imagine the combination of claustrophobia from being on a
boat.
teeny, right? Like sleeping in your little whore bunk and eating your hardtack that you have to hit the maggots out of, and then drinking
and
your boiled
Seeing
water.
the rats everywhere.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And there's room everywhere. There's so much space. It's just if you go in it, you're going to fucking die because the ocean is an upside down jungle. It's filled
It's a desert.
fucking predators ready to eat you. And then the water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
But then you start drinking it because you can't help yourself, and then you fucking
And
go
then you
crazy.
fucking go crazy and
then
die.
you eat somebody
Yeah.
because that's I think that's how I've heard it goes down.
I
don't know.
I caught the end of this episode.
know.
It didn't feel.
I don't know.
That
I
only
just
happened
heard
once.
I just heard that's what happened.
That's one of the 2 times I was told at sea we ate people.
And when this happened,
International laws. That's good.
That's
I
great,
had
yeah.
this thing with our friend Scotty, who you met. Some of you Patreon supporters met last week. Others of you will meet
that
sooner.
episode's not out yet.
Okay, well,
Sorry, I'm lazy.
sorry, it's all good. You will meet soon.
Janine, you're fired.
Scotty and I have a thing where anytime there is a story of the horrors of the deep, be it animal or shipwreck or anything, we share it with each other on GChat while we're at work. And so what I'm saying is I think about the horrors of the ocean a lot.
Okay, I have a real horror story for you.
Yeah.
There's this girl. She's got like 7 hot sisters, but we don't care about any of them. We only care about this girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's also a redhead. Complete coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got this dad who's ripped. He's like ripped. And he's got this long hair and this crown. And he's like, girl, why you gotta be so headstrong? She's like, well, because I want to get fucked by a human. And then she collects things. And then eventually she trades her voice to a sea witch. And then
She gets legs.
And then she gets legs. And then she gets laid.
Yeah, but those legs hurt like fuck.
They do. And also then she can't talk. But and then eventually they take a boom from a ship and drive it right into the stomach of the sea witch, which is horrifying. Also, there's a crab that talks.
I'm just thinking about how disorienting that would be to have like one spine going all the way down to your tail and then suddenly having 2 appendages.
It would hurt.
Yeah.
It would be like pins and needles. Like imagine going from a place where you were supported gravity-wise all around yourself, 360, and then going to a place where you had a skeleton that held you upright.
Hey, I've been watching The Expanse. I know what that looks like.
It's not awesome. So
Great
these
show, by the
these
way.
are the things that happen.
How did she know how to walk?
Look, it's
Sha-la-la-la-la-la.
she'd been
Who knows? It's just
obviously been watching them. She'd been watching humans, right?
The ground high.
All right, Sebastian, bring it down.
Walking around on those. What do you call them? Oh, I
yeah.
have no idea. I don't know anything about human society.
So these are the things that happen to your brain when you're on a boat.
Anywhere they're in the doldrums.
You guys just saw what happens to your brain when you're on a boat.
This is your brain. This is your brain on boat.
So all the guys are do we have the moon shot first? The night before when they're on the still ocean? That was beautiful.
So there's this scene. It's beautifully shot. There are these gorgeous, like, long sweeping shots of the ship on the still water, and there's the moon, and everything's beautiful. They're all cozied up, and there's this line where Jamie's like, "Are we alone?"
Yes, and it's
Claire's
just
like,
Claire
"Yes,
and
it's
Jamie
just us," and
on
he goes,
board.
Us and the
Yeah.
man in the moon. And then there's this big stack of barrels behind them, and they do not go behind the barrels and do it. I don't understand.
What is going on in this episode?
They're the whole like,
You know
we,
what?
oh, it's
Yes.
just us. I think we're
Wait.
alone now. Even though we're alone, we're not going to have sex now. I
So
don't
there's
know
going to be
what's
even more shit
happening.
where you're going to be like,
What is going on?
Okay, so they stand on the ship and look at Cosmo's moon
It's
and have a
very
beautiful
pretty.
scene. And then the doldrums happen and the crew starts kind of going crazy. And the captain is like, well, this is when she and Jamie are at dinner with him again, right? And he's like, the crew is going to demand a sacrifice. They're going to demand that we blame somebody.
Yeah.
And Claire's like,
He says, who do we blame? And she's like, nobody.
Nobody?
It's the weather. He's like, no, you don't understand. I didn't say who is to blame. I said, who do we blame?
yeah, because the crew is going to demand that
He's a politician.
we're going to probably throw somebody overboard.
Yeah.
And Claire's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And then we have a drone shot of the ship on the stillest motherfucking ocean you have ever seen. Like it's a boat in blue glass. There is no movement. There is no wave. There is nothing. Not a fish.
It's beautiful.
Not a whale to be seen. It is terrifying.
I think the only thing that would make that worse is if they were in mist.
Yeah, if they couldn't see everything around them and they weren't
were
moving,
stuck?
that would be
Jeez.
even worse.
Good God. That's horrifying.
You know what would actually make it worse, though? Like a giant squid. Okay.
Jumping sharks.
Flying sharks would make this worse. Oh, and it was a drone shot too, which Allison really responds to.
Well, it might be a
fucking love
drone. It
drone
might have been a
shots.
drone shot. It might have been a fake drone shot. Either way, meant
How
to
do you
look like
fake a drone shot? Is it like a helicopter kind of?
No, it probably was a drone shot, but they had the entire thing set up with green screens around it. So
Okay.
like they put it in a pool and
You
then
missed
they
They
last
talked
week.
about
There was
that.
a legit drone shot, a beautiful one. They were standing on the edge of the shore, and I went drone shot.
I can't tell the story because it would take too long. But everyone, I've lost a drone and it hurt my heart so much because it was
I'm
so,
so
pretty.
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was stupid.
you also lost that boom mic.
I found it.
Yay! That's really good. All right, so we see that they truly are trapped in the middle of the ocean, and it sucks. And the captain is like, "Well, we're gonna have to do this."
There's some narration that says it's been literally weeks. Oh, they get rat water.
Oh
We see
the
so they all
bilge
on
water
their
came
way.
up and poisoned their drinking water, and there's like
So there were-
rats
so
floating
there
in
were
it. And Claire's
5
like, "You
casts.
cannot drink this."
Actually, that's Jamie. Jamie says that because you know what? He was married to that woman. He learned some shit. That happens in the book too. Even after she goes back to the future, he brushes his teeth with a little twig. He makes everybody wash their hands and he makes them all eat greens, even though everyone's like, why are we eating plants? He's like, I'm not really sure, but my wife said it'll keep you from losing your teeth. And everyone's like, okay, yum, 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 yum. So I choose to believe that that's Jamie was married to Claire, is now married
and is
to Claire.
paying attention
And
to
it's like,
germs.
no, drink that water. Don't drink that water. That's going to be full of disease. That's where it's cold ocean soup with dead rat croutons. Anyway, there are 5 kegs that are still good. So they're just like, pray for rain.
And then everybody's like, it was this guy, because Hayes has been acting shady the entire time and all the ship's mates have noticed. So it's one of the guys from Ardmere prison that sees Jamie as McDo, right? One of the duo. He's the one that didn't touch the motherfucking horseshoe. The one that called the boat a bucket of shit. Like he
This,
just,
by the way, is the Kevin Lambert looking motherfucker.
Kevin Lambert, what the fuck were you doing on that ship, dude? That's how we're going to refer to it now.
so
Except for he does have long hair, but it's like stick straight.
I don't
but now-
think he looks that
now
much like
doesn't
Kevin.
have long
I do.
hair. Kevin doesn't have long hair anymore, though.
I know.
That's
but
okay. So
Sorry, Kevin, it wasn't you.
Hayes goes crazy, sort of, and decides he's going to take matters into his own hands. And
Well, the other one, not Hayes, stands up from him and is like, listen, dudes, this dude's not a Jonah.
Innes, right? Isn't the other one's name Innes?
No. I
Leslie.
looked it up. It was not
Leslie.
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 Thank you.
Listen, bros, you come for my friend, you come for me. No. And they're like, okay. And he's like, no. And he runs aboard and then he gets drunk and he climbs the mast up to the boom.
And he sits on the boom and is like, I'm just gonna do this, you guys. I'm gonna throw myself fucking over.
And it's very like, if you're gonna kill me, I'd rather do it myself. And then he's like 2 yo-hos and a bottle of rum away from full piratery. He's balancing on it. It's the hookiest this episode ever
And
gets.
everybody on the boat is chanting Jonah, and Allison is like, donut. And it really did sound like they were saying donut.
I did really want a donut.
It sounded like they were saying donut.
I'd like to buy the world a donut.
So Jamie goes up to the boom.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
He climbs up and the guy's like, no, McDo, don't risk the climb. Like that guy needs to be worried about climbing. He's not afraid of heights. He's just a weak seaman.
So he gets up there and he talks him down. He grabs his hand.
This is the Peter Pan part. I just kept waiting for somebody to go and fly up to the top.
So he convinces him not to throw himself off and grabs him and then swings him over to the rope web and whatever. He climbs down.
He's convincing him to go back, and then there's like some kind of like something happens, and he falls. Jamie catches him by his hand.
And by the way, this is the arm that was shot a couple of months ago by his ex-wife.
Oh, Janine missed that episode.
I did.
Yeah,
Jamie got
sorry.
shot last week.
God damn it, Jamie.
So he's
Oh, shit.
There we go.
Thank
Come
you.
on.
Cheers.
We need to give the people the catchphrase. We can't have this drinking game and then not follow through.
I know, and this is... Oh, sorry, I got a drink.
So Jamie saves his ass, doy.
Catches him by the hand and he's swinging and he like
And gets him to the rope web or whatever, and he crawls down, and then everybody on the boat is still kind of like squitchy and shit and like weird, and they're gonna fight, and then E.T. and Sean takes a moment and looks out.
Well, so it looks like there's like Jamie is screaming, if you throw him, you're going to have to go through me. I'm going over it too. And they seem to think that's fine. And it's like about to be a brawl. And E.T. Shaw looks out and he sees a bird
A
skimming
seagull
low.
skimming low over the glassy water.
And he goes,
And then he turns around and he is like, fuck everybody, just listen to me.
He rings the bell. He rings the bell until everyone is like, we are having a fight. What?
And then he tells his life story.
Oh.
And it's very interesting.
So, first, before we do anything else, I want to say that Mr. Willoughby / Etienne Cho is played by Gary Young.
Thank you, Gary Young.
And he kicks the shit out of this scene. Because it's a lot of layers. He's telling a story that's obviously personal to him because of his life story. And it's something that he's kept secret. And it means a lot to him. And obviously he was saving it. He is not a story he wanted to tell because he didn't tell it to Claire. And then he just starts telling it. He just starts talking. And he tells a story of being a young man in China and realizing he had a gift for words, and he would write these beautiful poems. He had to get, because it's visual as well, right? So he would paint these beautiful characters that would also convey beautiful text. And he became known as like the bird of fire, something like that. And the emperor's second wife was enraptured by his poetry and wanted to bring him in as an official poet of the royal family. But that means getting fucking castrated.
Because you can't be in the service and be around the wives unless you have no nuts.
Yeah. So and
Dingle sack?
Yeah, just taking off the nuts.
The lower tits.
Lower tits?
Lower tits.
The below tits.
Base tits.
Yeah,
Base tits out.
So, and he says, well, that would be a death sentence because I had fallen in love with woman. And Claire's like, what? The emperor's wife? That woman? He's like, no, you misunderstand. With woman. And then he starts talking about their breasts that taste like apricots and their necks that smell like Chanel No. 5 and their hair that smells like
Mr. Willoughby, like
the finest suave in all the land. And their legs, which are not shaved because that's a French thing, and their mounds,
which is like holding
a fistful of ripe peach. And you can see everybody's like, yeah, okay. Marcelly's like, and at one point she turns to Fergus and she goes, what's a eunuch? And he goes, I'll tell you later. And everyone was like, oh, a fistful of ripe peach. Maybe you do have a gift for words. Tell me some more, bird of fire. And then he says, and for all of that, I ran. For all of that, I came here to a country where my beautiful words are viewed more lowly than the scratching of chickens.
And so is my writing.
And where for the love of woman I came here, where the women are coarse and ugly and vulgar, and even the lowest whores will not lay with me and call me a yellow worm. And it's this big, like, amazing monologue. And then he's done and he steps up on the edge of the fucking thing.
I'm like, he is going to throw himself off this fucking boat.
He throws this roll of papers that was his life story out, and they float on the air. And the fucking wind kicks up.
Son of a bitch.
And then it starts.
Fuck yeah. Oh, shit.
There we go.
It was the best scene on the entire episode.
And it starts to rain.
God damn it.
And then Jamie comes over and he's like, listen, bro, I know I'm superstitious, but I don't believe in magic. I mean, my wife's a witch, so I believe in that. But like, what? How'd you do that?
What did you do?
How'd you do that? And Mr. Willoughby, Etienne Cho, says, well, I saw the seagull and it was flying really low. They only do that when the air is heavy.
And it's going to rain.
It's going to rain. So I knew it was coming. So we just knew I had to stall. so I just told a story. And they're like, wow, that was pretty great. He's like, I know. Thanks.
I know. That's what I do.
I want to say another thing. So this is another in the books that made me think something really crazy was going to happen. I did think he was going to throw himself over.
I 100% thought
he was going to throw himself overboard. I thought he was going to throw himself overboard. And God, there it is. Oh, I apologize in advance if I end up ruining this, but
Neil.
But based on that was Neil's food is here. But based on what's happening.
Oh. That sounds like
Neil
really good
ordered
feel.
2 half-fried chickens.
And some dry white toast.
That makes a whole fried chicken.
Anyway, there there's a chance I'm about to spoil something really minor for all of you, but based on what's happening in the book, I really, really doubt that.
In the show or in the book?
In the book. You know what? I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this for the spoiler section. For Je suis spoiler. I have had more than one person tell us we are absolutely not allowed to change the name of that.
Okay.
Agreed.
So fuck you, BuzzFeed Australia. We got there first. I'm
Yeah.
peeing on it. I'm
Fuck you,
peeing
Daphne,
on it.
from
I'm
Down
going to
Under.
take my below tits and I'm going to wipe them all over.
You're
Je
going to
suis
pee
spoiler.
on it so hard and so fast that the steam rises up.
Anyway, then it's raining and it's pouring and nobody is snoring. But then it's raining and Claire and Jimmy are like, let's go below deck.
And boom.
Wait, everybody is so excited about the water. They're all up there like singing and dancing in the rain. Maybe it's time for us to do it. So they go in some room. They're on like sacks of flour or something.
I would assume it was Jamie's quarters.
I don't think so because there was not a bed.
Okay.
They were not in a bed. They weren't in a hammock. A berth. The beds are berths. Anyway, and then they just cut away too fast. It's pretty hot, like leading up. Like he drops his pants, and you see a little like teeny tiny piece of his ass. And then Claire's like hiking up her skirts in a hurry. She's like, and then she's like, shh, people will hear. And he's like,
And
let
it's
them
like,
hear.
cut away.
I mean, she does get a couple of good like, oh, and
But it was not great. What I wrote was E.T. and Child life story, throws poem, wind, rain, strong sexual content. That was the formula.
That's actually how the script was written.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. So then after the strong sexual content happens, they are having their afterglow chat.
post-coital bliss.
Discussing, I can't even remember what they were talking about, where they were just like, I love you.
Well, it was mushy shit.
It was kind of mushy. And I can't
let's skip it.
Yeah, I can't really remember what it was. And then all of a sudden there is a loud noise above and we run up to the above decks and we realize that there's another boat out of nowhere.
The above tits and the below tits.
The above tits.
We run to the above tits.
And there's another boat. It is a British man of wars, which is a big ass boat. And it has appeared and is firing cannons as a signal close to their boat, like, hey, we need to come onto your boat right now. And because it's a British warship, they have this, but the Artemis can't say no.
Then Jamie and Claire have a conversation where she's like, because he says,
Doesn't the captain come talk to Jamie real quick?
yeah, the captain says something based on the way their sails are hung. They're obviously down men.
Yeah, they don't have a full crew.
And Claire's like, wait, hold up. What about down men? And Jamie's like, well, they can legally force any British subject into commission on their ship. So, whoops. She's like, okay, I mean,
that means you.
That includes you. He's like, yeah, I know. So that sucks. But if I get strong-armed onto this ship, you have to continue and go find young Ian. And she just and this is a great moment from Katrina Buff on my mom. She just looks at him and is like, I swear, because she can see how important it is. There's no hemming and hawing. Nobody cries. They're just like, all right, here's the crisis. We're dealing with it. And yep, I will do that.
And then a rowboat appears from the British man of war and a couple of the British seamen get on board. And the captain is like 18 years old.
He's a baby.
He's a pup.
And you're like, what? And
he's
the captain
taking
is
good
like,
care of his hair, considering the circumstances.
the captain is like, you're the captain of the Artemis, Captain Jack. I still don't remember his name. Is like, you're the captain. He's like, well, actually, I was third lieutenant, but everybody
Acting
died. We got some bullshit on our boat. It's not good. There's the plague. And Claire's like, okay.
Ship's fever.
And he's like, we need a surgeon. And Claire's like, all right, I'll go. She goes, do the men have
Rash on
their stomach? And then he's like, yeah. And she's like, I know what it is. And Jamie's like, excuse us, and drags her into a hallway to have a private discussion with her. And Claire's like, hey, here's what it is.
So first of all, you see this look on her face where she's obviously like, this again. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
What a whiny bitch this one is.
Her face did look like she was saying,
She had her arms crossed like, how are we going to do this again?
come on.
And so he comes out and she's like, all right, here's the bag. Here's what it is. I cannot get it. I am inoculated against it. I have to go help them. I took an oath. And he's like, I've taken a couple of oaths in my time, as he massages her wedding ring that he made for her out of a key. And she's like, yeah, it's like that, brah. And so she gets off the boat and she goes to the other boat. And they are having a pretty hard time with some typhoid fever.
Oh, basically, they describe the situation, and everybody salutes her because they do. And a few of them are wearing those coats.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to the below tits, and
it's gross.
It's like a poop and vomit factory. Everybody's in hammocks, and all the hammocks are dripping, and there are rats everywhere. And like I can't even. And Claire is not she's not a princess when it comes to bad smells, right? Like, first of all, she dealt with all that Jamie Ralphing, but she worked in
World War II.
L'Hôpital des Anges
and World War II.
Yeah,
she's been around.
She's not a delicate flower. And she goes down there and she's like, "Hold on, I need something to hold over my mouth."
This is the worst.
Oh, shit.
So she takes her stock off.
I
and
said, "Oh shit."
Oh,
cheers.
hey, cheers. Hey, that's fun.
So she goes down there. It's very clearly typhoid fever. She knows what to do. She goes to the captain. She's like, here's what we have to do. We have to get all those men up on deck. You need to clear the deck off so that these men can be in the fresh air.
I will stay for a little while and help you get your shit together because this is going to be really rough and pretty much everybody's going to die.
I'm not going to try to make this a rosy glow because it's horrible and a lot of people are going to die. So the only way that we can prevent everyone from dying is this. And then she starts telling him that. And then all of a sudden, the ship starts.
An important thing happens, and I say this because book knowledge.
Yeah.
She's like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, then great. I need 12 of your strongest men immediately. We'll knock some things out, and I'll go back to my ship. He's like, great. You can start with Mr. Elias Pound here.
Mr. Pound.
Door opens.
And like a 14-year-old walks in.
Like a teeny tiny angel-faced cherub child.
A puppy.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, he's like, what can I do to be of service, Mom? But quickly, if you please, because it's almost my nap time. And I like Elias Pound. He's a good character. Anyway, she's like, all right, great. Well, so we got to get
everybody upstairs.
Let's go.
Go clean the deck off so that we can get everybody up there. That's what's going to happen.
Then she goes to the galley.
Oh, yeah. And the cook is an ass
And
wipe.
the cook is a dick.
Literally ass wipe.
Ew. The cook is a
We're getting there.
dick.
I know he's the reason.
And she's like, listen, I don't care. This is the captain's orders. I need boiled water right now. So you hurry up and boil some fucking water, bro. And then all of a sudden, this shit starts moving.
She runs up, realizes that the ship is moving away from the Artemis.
What?
Huh? She's basically been kidnapped.
Ship-napped.
Kidnapped?
Cat-napped.
Cat babuff.
Cap-napped.
Lady-napped.
Lady-napped. Boat-napped.
Boat-nap.
I like boat napped.
Is she Typh-napped? No. Dock-napped.
I like boat napped.
Boat-napped. I like ship-napped. Because it sounds more like kidnapped.
Ship napped.
She's ship-napped.
She got fucking ship napped. And that's how the episode ends.
They need a surgeon, and that's what happened. And you can just, if you listen really hard, you can just hear Jamie losing his goddamn mind
as the other boat pulls away.
Right?
I could have sworn I saw like a red flash on the other ship.
She turns around and says to the captain, "You told me I could go back," and he's like, "Nah, man, I need you.
I need you. You don't understand. You said we were the ones who had to hurry to shore, so I'm just doing what
that's right.
And he also,
just following orders, ma'am."
And he also said like we're both heading to Jamaica.
Yeah,
so
I
like
will reunite you with the ship when we get there.
I will do whatever I got to do to get you guys reunited.
We're going to Jamaica.
But let's fucking roll.
So now Claire is
Need
the
some steel
doctor
drums.
on a plague ship. And then this is really Jamaican.
It's very Jamaican. It made me feel a little weird.
I'm optimistic.
I am too.
Okay.
So far, they seem to be doing a good job of handling
I hope so.
that.
I hope so.
So let's talk about costumes, Patty.
Okay.
On a scale of, let's see.
It's Cutthroat Island. It's Cutthroat Island.
It's well. You have
this
to,
is
girl,
Cutthroat Island.
Girl,
It is.
You have to save your answer for after the question.
I don't even need the question.
Well, then I'm gonna frame my question around your answer. So
it's
on that
Gina
case,
Davis on the high seas.
let me ask the fucking question.
Oh shit!
So on a scale of Ken Burns' pirate ship to the director's cut of Hook, where does it fall?
Cutthroat Island.
Okay, great.
There we go.
You're welcome.
I agree. I would maybe say like Pirates of the Caribbean 3 at World's End. No. I don't even know if that's 3. I think that's 5. I don't know. I stopped watching those movies because they're garbage.
They're not good. The first one is good.
The first one was okay. And then
The first one is fun. It has one of the best entrances of all time in it.
It really does.
And you know what? I hate that person, but I don't give a shit. That shit is hilarious.
It's a very funny entrance.
I had a friend who was actually a stunt guy on that show. That's like made his thing. And apparently he was scuba diving on the day they did that scene. And he was basically just like hanging out just below sea level as they were shooting him doing his entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Fun. Yeah.
And he didn't just let him drown?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
he might now.
So from sexy time, so I'm trying to think nautically again. On a scale of Steven Spielberg's Hook.
No. Oh, God, that ain't right.
Well, I wasn't thinking about the children, although Rufio is legit hot.
Rufio's
to
pretty
Red
cute.
October.
Childhood kish. Crush.
Kush.
Crush. We'll say, but I'm saying Hook is sexless, right? Because the romantic relationships are zilcho, right? We're supposed to think that Tinkerbell has been pining for Peter Pan all these years. I'm sorry, what?
Julia Roberts is not pining for Robin Williams.
I really like Julia Roberts in that, by the way.
I do not.
I think it was a horrible casting choice.
I think she was very miscast.
I think it was
but
bad
her
casting
outfit's
choice.
fun. Anyway,
And
so
also,
we'll
it's just a problematic character that I will never understand.
So we're gonna do on a scale of Hook to there's a lot of fucking in Titanic.
Oh.
That is true.
Hand
That
on
is
the-
true.
and then
You know what? It's nowhere near Titanic.
okay,
level.
so your options are Hook to Titanic.
Do I have to go with a boat?
I mean, it's your choice. It's your own work. You see what standards you hold yourself to.
I don't know if I know enough boat movies with doing it.
What's the Tom Hanks film?
Which one?
The Captain one where
No,
Captain Phillips?
There's no.
In fact,
doing
I'm
it
going to
in
go
that
ahead
movie.
and take Hook out and replace it with Captain Phillips.
Holy crap! That is a way better base level. Okay. I know what I'm gonna say, and this movie is horrible, but I also love it. But it's horrible.
Okay.
Overboard.
Oh.
I don't know, Overboard.
Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Oh yeah.
It's the fucking Stockholm syndrome, like
Isn't he-
caper, hilarious.
I just Googled movies on boats to try to set up this thing, and then I realized I have the two perfect things.
Yeah.
So Overboard is your doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fair choice. Relatively tame, some spots of sexual chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Resulted in an actual marriage?
No. Do you know the story of how they got together?
No, tell me.
You guys, this is incredible. I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible,
Let's
but
do
it's
it.
really, really good.
By the way, I'm not choosing Overboard. I'm choosing the African Queen.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, continue.
So, I can't remember whether or not they got set up or whether or not it was a blind date. But Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell went out on their first fucking date. Their first date. And they hit it off so hard that Kurt took her to a house of a friend of his that was under renovation that nobody lived in at the time because it was getting worked on. And he was showing her around and they just decided to start fucking. They just were like, let's fuck. And the cops got called. And the cops came in and they were like, hi. And they've been together for like 40 years now.
That's the best.
That's great.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so mine's the African Queen.
Okay.
Last scale.
Okay.
I was determined to revisit the scales. I listened, so for an application we're submitting for a thing, I tried to listen to I'll tell you later. I tried to listen to listen to a live show, one of the empirical live shows. And I remembered how fun these scales used to be. And I've been lazy. I'm going to bring them back.
They got hard.
It gets harder the longer we go on.
But that's because I try to do them off the top of my head. I just need to consult the internet occasionally. But this one, it just sprung to mind, even though I already Googled movies on boats. For getting up to get a drink.
Mm-hmm.
At the bottom of the scale, Speed 2 cruise control.
Oh man,
At the
30
top
knots
of the
is tough,
scale, Jaws. Where does this fall in the middle?
Ooh, this was not Jaws.
No, not Jaws, but it's also not Speed 2 cruise control. First of all, even though it was in the Doldrums, we didn't get up to get a drink.
Yeah, but that's because we had the drinks in there with us. Yeah, we had. We did. We had a growler with
That's
us.
true.
I'd go with Inner Space.
I mean, I had to pee.
Oh my God.
I didn't get up to have to
that
pee.
movie.
It's a good movie, but
It's also kind of a weird movie now.
yeah. But that's a ship. I'm gonna give that a ship because it's a
It
submarine.
is a ship.
Yeah.
But also, so she swallows him from Martin Short, and then all of a sudden he's somewhere near her uterus. Like, I'm sorry, there's so many questions.
There's a lot going on there. That was
I have
weird.
a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the life of... Oh, no, you have to do yours. Yours.
So somewhere between Jaws, and Speed 2.
Man. I've got
We're
mine.
getting up to get a beer.
I'm going Deep Blue Sea.
It's pretty good.
Ooh.
Where there's one segment where you absolutely can't get up, and the rest of the time it's probably fine.
The Abyss is too hardcore. I can't do The Abyss.
No.
Man.
Castaway?
Captain Ron.
That's right.
Another Kurt Russell.
Great.
Another Kurt Russell in a boat movie.
So now let's do the old Golden Pamplemousse. And this week I would like to say that we're going to call this segment The Life Aquatic with the Golden Pamplemousse. So, Julie, who's your pick? We've already said it, but say it again.
100% E.T. and Shaw.
Gary Young.
So
why?
because the moment where he breaks the curse, quote unquote, on the ship and tells his story is so compelling and he's so good in it. And then also secondarily, that moment that he has with Jamie about like, we got to solve this because I'm going to have to cut your balls off. Like it's funny.
Please don't make me cut your balls off.
He's just very good.
Don't you want to keep your below tits?
Yeah. It specifically for the story of his life, but yeah, it was good.
I'm also going to say Gary Young as Mr. Willoughby / E.T. Cho. I just thought that story of his life monologue was so good.
It was incredible.
You could see, there were so many layers. You could see that it was performative, like he was doing it for a reason, but there was also something really cathartic about it. And it was so sad, but he also took a lot of pleasure in holding everybody's attention. Mm-hmm. And then the satisfaction at the end of it, of just like having made it happen. I just thought he was really great. Mm-hmm. And he has a great face, like a really great face. So we're in unison there. Mm-hmm. A+, Mr. Gary Young, E.T. Cho. Mm-hmm. Great. Anything else to add?
Nah.
So we're gonna do the thing. We're gonna have a really brief Je suis spoiler section at the end because this episode is running long, and also because I really only have the one thing, but it's a good one. So for right now, before we get to Je suis spoiler, we need to thank all of you for listening. We specifically need to thank all of our patrons on Patreon. If you want to back us on Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/PodlanderDrunkcast. We have a new perk for donors. I think it's at the 5 and up level. Maybe it's the 3 and up level. I don't remember.
I thought it was 3.
I think it's 3.
Anyway, it's for pretty much everybody. Which means you can join us in a Slack channel, which has been really fun so far.
It has been pretty fun.
I really like talking to all of you guys, and
it's better than Facebook, which I'm on a break from because I'm not confronted with other bullshit.
Me too.
I don't have to look at pictures
We're both
of
off Facebook right now.
I don't have to look at
I have to
pictures
be on it
of
for work.
I know. I don't have to look at
Sometime I
pictures
will,
of Voldemort.
Yeah. It's
I just read the
anyway,
news for
the
that, and it's
Slack
fucking
channel
horrible.
is great. It's been really wonderful so far. We have a channel for people who've read the books. We have a channel for people who want to talk about the show once it airs, before everyone else has seen it, or rumors about what might happen in the future. Today I started a Crazy Ex-Girlfriend channel because I just needed to talk to people about it. So there are other things. And then just people are coming in and making friends, and it's been really fun. Anyway, there are other perks as well. Again, patreon.com/PodlanderDrunkcast. Thanks to everybody who blocks us.
Please don't.
There's
block
a button on Patreon that says block patron. And I saw block. I was like, why would that be there? And I saw block, and I said it out loud.
Also,
Anyway.
if they block us, good. Get away. But love us still.
No, don't block us. So we need to thank our most generous patrons, specifically Yvonne Kaiser, Ann Gavin, Katie Kirshner, Amanda Newton, Beth Black, Kelly Sheehan, Jessica Dobervich, Aaron Yitzy, Molly Layton, Heather Moore. By the way, Aaron Yitzy, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please tell me. Molly Layton, Heather Moore, Ruth McCormick, Trish McCrary, Kara Marlowe, Catherine Galindo, Kiki the Wise, Flourish Root, Dr. J, Friday Payton, Jen Lander Drunklin, and Mistress of Baking, Master Baketress. So, that's not right. Good Baker, Kathleen Moniz. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/PodlanderCast, on Twitter at PodlanderCast. And if you want to see our little Instagram thingies on Sundays, that's me at Allison Shue. You can also find me on Twitter at Allison Shue. You can find Julie at Julie Starby, and you can find Janine at Pagel_Aaron. So come say hi and stuff. And we'll do the spoilers in just a second, but for now, thanks so much.
You're 16. You're beautiful. And you're fine.
It's an episode.
Okay, so we realized that we didn't actually acknowledge this, so we thought that we had better do it now. After we stopped recording, we were just talking, getting ready to record like a teeny tiny bonus episode for Patreon subscribers. And I went in the bathroom to pee. And apparently...
Best ideas.
Apparently,
Best ideas on
as
the
stated
head.
previously, I do my best thinking on the toilet because I realized that we had never talked about this is our 50th episode.
I can't believe it.
Jesus.
That's 50 episodes of television, of a podcast. 50.
I just truly cannot believe it.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of episodes. And that's not counting like the Wizard World things, which never got released to anybody but Patreon subscribers. So it's just the stuff that was on iTunes, Stitcher, etc.
And I was making a joke to Julie about how like it's, after a year hanging out. And she's like, no. Year and a half.
It's been at first I was like, it's been more like 2 years, bro.
Not quite.
But then I was like, wait, wasn't it April?
April 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so there are some of you out there who've been listening since the very beginning, and I want to thank everybody who listens. And I have a special place in my heart for the people who find us at random and then go back and start from the beginning. It makes me so happy to think that you do that.
Pro tip, beginning season 2.
Yeah.
Then go back for season 1.
Yeah. Well, that's the order it'll be in iTunes.
If you-
Start at the beginning of the podcast, not the beginning of the series.
If you want
Yeah.
to know our nicknames, because otherwise it's going to be a little tough.
Yeah. That's discussed on Reddit.
I know.
That-
Fucking Aaron, you saw this on
I saw
Slack?
part of the thread. That's the actual thread they talk about our
What the
nicknames.
fuck is up with
There's
Reddit?
a part of the thread is specifically, hi, everybody who's listen, Reddit people, you have no idea how happy that made us. It just like made all of our fucking weeks. So,
And it also explains some things, maybe.
having nothing to do with any of you lovely people who
Of
are talking about
course
the
not.
show.
Of course
anyway,
not.
We're looking at you, Daphne.
We're looking at you,
we're
Daphne.
talking about
Where
you,
are
Daphne,
you?
stars intern.
Daphne
Anyway,
at Stars.
Daphne
at BuzzFeed.
in that particular Reddit conversation thread, whatever string, whatever they call it,
Yeah. Whatever, yeah.
It was it's a subreddit in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Outlander subreddit where they're talking about the podcast. Someone said like, oh, so hey, just heads up, start at the beginning of the podcast, not the beginning of the show, because I just started listening when I started listening, and then I was like, oh great, I'll go back and listen to the season 1 episodes, and you'll get all the nicknames and shit if you just start from the top. I was like, yes, thank you. Sorry, we really should be better about that. I swear to God, I'm going to do a glossary. Maybe I'll do one this week. Anyway,
That'd be fun.
point being, people who started listening last week and people who listened from the beginning and everybody in between, but especially people who've been listening since the beginning, there would be no point in us doing the show if people didn't listen to it. We like spending time together. We might still just hang out, drink beer, and watch Outlander, but it's only really exists because you guys are cool. So we're maybe on track to have our biggest month ever, and that's amazing. And you're all you're wonderful, wonderful creatures, and we love you. And so, hey, guys, oh shit, 50 episodes.
Oh, shit.
And
Gulp.
now for real. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, and this is the part when we stall so we can do the spoiler
Can't
section.
wait.
Spoiler section and the poop deck, poop deck,
Oh,
poop
the
deck,
chip
poop
deck, and there was some cakes, and they should have fucked, but they did not.
That was great, guys. So in the books, there's a section where there are sharks, and they send. Of course, there are. And then Julie is pouring me more beer. First of all, you should know I fucking love sharks. Anyway, there's
Wait, what do you love about sharks?
everything.
I love sharks too,
But
dude.
why?
I directed a play about the first
true, that's
documented attack of humans by sharks in recorded history off the coast of New Jersey at the turn of the century.
I still have the video of that. You need to get that at some
I do
point.
need to get that. Anyway,
I actually got to swim with sharks by myself.
That's so
And it
cool.
was the scariest, most amazing, cathartic,
I
shit.
would never do
moment of my
that,
fucking
and I
life.
think you're crazy.
Sharks are incredible animals.
I'm cool with sharks, and I respect
They're
them.
fascinating.
But I do not want to touch
and
them.
there's a whole thing environmentally speaking of people, mostly because of Jaws, thinking that sharks are predators designed to attack humans, and they're not. And so sharks get killed every year when they don't need to. Don't kill sharks. Anyway, So, I love sharks. There's a section in the book about where sharks show up, and Aloysius Murphy is like, "Oh, we're fucking killing those sharks. Do you even know? We make shark fin soup. We can do all this fucking shark meat, shark steak, shark sandwich." So he's like Forrest charcuterie.
Oh yeah,
Shots fired. Shots fired.
So he's like the Forrest Gump, and he's like the Bubba Gump.
He's the Bubba Gump of sharks.
Yeah.
So they're running low on. Everybody's getting tired of eating hardtack and whatever and dried meat. So they get in some boats and they decide to go out and try to like kill these sharks. So some people are in the boats, not Jamie, because he needs a big boat because he's a weak seaman. So he's still
no
on the
tiny
ship.
boats for Jamie.
And they're out trying to kill the shark. And then Etienne Shaw is like watching, and he looks really fascinated. And then he's watching this pelican. He's like, "That's a pelican." And then they're trying to kill the sharks.
Bad news,
And
right?
all of a
Pelican
sudden-
is a bad
No.
omen.
Then Etienne Shaw, Mr. Willoughby, throws himself overboard to try to catch this pelican. And I think he throws himself at the pelican and grabs it, and they fall into the water. So while they're trying to kill these sharks, Mr. Willoughby is in the water wrestling with a pelican. So Jamie is like, "Fuck," and throws himself overboard to get Mr. Willoughby.
Oh my God.
And then like maybe the sharks are going to get them, and they kill a shark, but then there's shark blood. So then there are more sharks and all this shit. They have to get him back on board. Everybody's so pissed at Mr. Willoughby because why the fuck did he do that? Right? And they're like, why did you tackle a pelican? Who does that? And he doesn't say anything. And then the next day he takes a rope, he attaches it to the pelican's neck, and he throws a fish and goes for it. He comes back and gets another fish. Lets him out to the end of the rope, throws a fish. Pelican gets the fish. Comes back. He gets another fish. Trains the pelican so that he takes the rope off the pelican's neck and he'll send it out to sea. It'll go catch fish, bring them back, get dried fish. He trains a pelican to bring him fresh fish.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
And then everybody loves him because fresh fish. All the time.
What the
Isn't that
fuck?
awesome?
That's
So
so
when
good.
he was watching that bird, before I could tell it was a seagull, I was
You're
like,
like, "It's a pelican."
I was like, here's what's going to happen. This is not as outlandish as somebody gets their arm cut off. I was like, great. He's going to throw himself overboard to get the pelican. And people are going to be like, oh, great. Well, there was a man overboard. Curse fixed. And then he comes back out with the pelican, and then they all get fish. And then I thought it would be that happy ending. And instead,
That is interesting, though, because I do actually think that a pelican is a harbinger of bad news.
bad news.
Nautically speaking.
Naughty news?
Naughty news. Nautical news. I do think that pelicans are supposed to be bad news. So that's anyway, that's cool, because in my mind, I thought that was a superstition. And so, therefore, fuck
It's
it.
real.
Yeah.
It's real.
You know what? If I believe it, it's real. If I want to achieve, I will believe.
Don't dream it, be it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
It's like that.
That's
Tony
it for
Robbins,
this
you killed my
week.
grandma.
Oh, there's no way to end. I should say Julie's grandmother is still
No,
alive.
but that was an old joke. That was an old joke.
I don't even know what to say, so bye.
Bye.